Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Mindy here today for Honeybee Stamps, and we have some gorgeous glitz going on in this video today featuring some fun birthday products. Starting with this Birthday Candle Stencil. This is a 3-piece stencil. You can see this first one here has both the candle piece and the flame. This second one I'm showing you is just the flame. There's also an etched line in there, so you could line that up with a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch cardstock piece. And then this third one is just the candle. So I am going to use all three in today's video. I'm starting with a piece of Neenah Solar White cardstock. This is 110 pound. I attached 2 pieces of purple tape to the edges. I'm going to make my card a landscape card today to fit my sentiment. And then I just laid that first stencil on top. This first one I'm using is just the candle portion. And then I'm going to do some rainbow ink blending, starting with Candied Apple Distress Oxide ink. Then coming in with a spiced marmalade, and then I will use squeezed lemonade, so for a nice bright yellow, and I'm using the Honeybee Stamps blending brushes to do this, so this actually does move quite quickly. And then I have twisted citron, adding that right under my yellow, and then squeezing in the salty ocean. Unfortunately, I missed my purple. The purple always seems to get the short end of the stick when it comes to getting added into my rainbow. So once I finish the blending, I'm just going to peel off that top stencil, and then I'm going to add my flame. Now this is really easy to line up. The etched lines are more of there if you're going to make a portrait scape card. But even without doing it portrait and doing it landscape like I have it here, it was really easy to line up my flame on top of my candle pieces. And then I'm going to ink blend on mustard seed. So that one's a darker yellow to kind of signify that difference between the yellows. And then I can peel that away. Now notice I'm still leaving that purple tape on my card, and that's going to come in helpful later. So now this is the third layer. This is where it's got both the candle piece and the flame. I'm lining that up with my candles on my cardstock, holding those with that purple tape on the side, and just to secure that down a little bit more, I put some just some blue painter's tape at the top. And I am going to apply some of the Gina K Designs Iridescent Glitz Glitter Gel. I am using a tonic spatula here. This is really flexible, so I can drag that down my card front. Now, one thing I really want to note is because we're applying this medium on top of the oxides, which react with water, it will taint your Glitz glitter gel. So you notice it's kind of yellow there, and I'm not going to put that back into my jar. I want to make sure whatever is in my jar is perfectly iridescent. So I did the big reveal there, carefully peeled back my stencil, and I'm going to set this off on the side to dry. So while my background is drying, I'm going to go ahead and work on my sentiments. I'm going to use the birthday stamp set and the honey cut. The honey cuts, I love these because there's 3 of them. So you have your main sentiment layer, a shadow, and then a little bit bigger of a shadow. I'm starting with stamping some smaller sentiments, so we're going to say happy and let's celebrate. I'm going to use my Mini Misty to stamp these. I lined them up in my Mini Misty, and I'm inking them with a Versamark ink, which is a really nice sticky ink. And I did prep my cardstock with that anti-static powder tool first, just to remove any static or maybe some oil from my fingers from handling, just so that my embossing powder only sticks to where I'm stamping. Then I'm going to sprinkle that with some white embossing powder. And if I have any little flicks left over, I'm going to just take a paintbrush and gently brush those away. That'll help give me a really nice clean strip. And then I can melt that embossing powder with my Wagner heat tool. Now, since I had put some of that anti-static powder tool, I want to brush that off just to make sure this is as black as I can get it. So I'm just using a Swiffer cloth to dust over that. Then I'm going to take my paper trimmer and trim these down into some really thin, skinny strips. And these will be ready for my card front. Now, the drying time on my background, it really varies depending on how much you put on. This probably only took about 15 minutes, and then I did kind of hit that with my heat tool carefully just to help speed that up a little bit. Now I did trim that panel down to 4 by 5 1/4. I lined the back of it with foam tape to give that some dimension, and I'm adding that to a card base made from Fog cardstock. Now I'm going to take this first layer of the birthday, and I'm going to die cut that 3 times from white cardstock and that shadow layer once from black cardstock. So I didn't use that third shadow layer, the biggest one. I'm just using the first 2. And I'm going to layer my 3 white pieces together with liquid glue, and then add that on top of my black shadow layer with the liquid glue as well. And be sure you don't forget the tittle of the eye. So I did save all 3 and adding those to my sentiment. Then I can center this on my card front. This is why I went landscape, as I really wanted to fit this birthday. It's pretty snug if I did it the other way, if I did portrait. So to help just make sure that's secured really well, I had placed my Misty on top and left that there for a few minutes. And then I'm adding my smaller sentiment strips with foam tape. So once I decided on placement, I'm adding a little bit of liquid glue to attach to that little loop of the Y. So we'll have Happy Birthday, Let's Celebrate. That finishes off the card today. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll give this a try. All of the supplies will be listed down below in the video description. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.